He is nucleus to our glorified Adam, and phantom pain on Revelation's ominous Eve. He is circular logic and Atlas, a ringmaster, still present after the audience dismissal. While jumping through hoops, you may ask one day, where is he? He is within the fabric of your knowledge. He is Columbus Myth.
Last we left you with Castor, as we followed him in digits down a covert course to hide Columbus's dead body in White Rabbit. Together, we learned that if an image of the deceased remained in CoShow's motherboard, the cyborg's biological body would reanimate. But what we didn't know is if Digits agreed with Castor's plan to bring Image back to CoShow and debut Dido as Star to raise trust. Mona seems to think that Digits never agreed to this plot. She's been Paul's spy since teaching CoShow's acrobats, but getting close with Castor might be revealing too much information for Mona to live with. She's split between two theologies, two cities, and two men, and she said it herself. She's on the brink of a nervous breakdown. Today, she turns to Goose, the strong woman, and tells her everything that's on her mind. Goose is the school librarian and wife of CoShow's spiritual healer and head engineer. So Mona trusts she's in good hands. Join us for Hidden Complexity, the 5th episode of our radio drama, Columbus Myth.
October 1st, 2286. Today is the 100th anniversary of 2186, the year we know as the Age Enlightenment. All fighting had ended. The public and private districts had been established for 100 years by then. On October 1st, 2186, it was officially declared that our current way of life was the most enlightened in human history. We became the model for every advanced society worldwide. Some primitive societies still used image in their media, so illegal viewing would happen from time to time. But those people were all criminal types. Now that image was legal here, it felt like our society had fallen. But societies change throughout time. They may seem like they're regressing to those of that period, but overall, they're progressing. It's all a matter of perspective. That's what I kept telling myself anyway. I decided to pay Goose a visit. Goose knows everything about the past leading to now. She's insightful. I find myself caught between entanglements of two districts, two theologies, and consequently, two men. She told me to tell her everything that's happened to lead up to today. So I remembered it for her. Remember, practice makes perfect. Your placement exams will determine who you are for the next 20 years, if not the rest of your lives. Take them seriously.
Once the classroom clears, Mona calls Paul.
Paul, I appreciate you getting me this job, but I don't know if I can keep it up.
Why not? It's perfect. You said you wanted a normal 9 to 5, with benefits and a change from the public district.
I know, perfect on paper.
So what's wrong?
Digits the clown walks over to Mona. He's mute, and no one notices him when he's around. Though people never notice him, he does make an impact on their lives, especially dancers. He controls all music for CoShow.
Oh, hi. I didn't see you there, Digits.
Oh.
Hold on, I was talking to Digits, the clown.
Oh.
You want
Digits?
me to call back?
Did you need something? No, he left. Oh, he dropped off a note. I guess he was just delivering something to me. It's from Columbus.
She opens the note.
I have to meet him at rehearsal. Ugh, and stay for rehearsal?
So much for reservations.
This is what I'm saying. Everything's so weird here. Like, I'm just a human public woman. What made me think I could work round the clock like a robot? I'm always on. And these poor kids have the world on their shoulders right now. Did you know that they take tests at the end of their senior year to place them in an act that they'll do for the rest of their careers?
I met Linda her senior year. She actually ran away the day she was placed as lion tamer.
She ran away?
To the public district. Yeah, she wanted to be a magician.
Castor's magician.
Does that mean you're coming home?
My grandparents were forced by the public to live here as cyborgs. My parents were born here and they grew up here, you know? I feel a connection to this place. I don't want to be a spoiled human. I want to make this work.
But your parents moved out of there for a reason. They aren't cyborgs, and they're doing pretty well as public citizens. You really have to make things hard on yourself, don't you?
Why don't we reschedule dinner? I'll call you tonight.
Time passes. Mona visits Columbus's office, but she overhears Castor arguing with the ringmaster. She decides she'll come back later when...
Sorry, I was just walking by.
If you need to talk with him, you can.
No, I mean if he's... You sounded like you were...
Maybe you're right. He is a little ticked off. My fault. Might want to try again later.
Time passes, and Mona finds herself at a lunch table one day, sitting next to the magician.
I overheard you say something about science and mythology when you were in Columbus's office. If you don't mind me asking, what were you two talking about that made you so angry?
Have you ever been torn between two things? Placed in the middle, you can't decide between them because they're so similar, and you can't tell which one is right? One is real and the other is counterfeit, but you don't know which is which. Like, one is a Christ figure and the other is the Antichrist, but the two might as well be twins?
Yeah, well, no, not exactly. But yes, I understand. I feel that way about the public and the private districts.
Really? Well, that's interesting. They're like night and day.
I don't know.
You gonna answer?
I'll call him back.
Is that your husband?
Oh, Paul? No. He's kind of an off and on situation. He's non-committal.
Oh.
So he can wait. I'll call him back.
Later that night, Linda is found dead.
Come quickly!
Linda!
Call an ambulance.
She's gone.
Suicide?
My girl. My poor girl. What have you done? I could have helped you. We could have all been there for you. What have you done?
The next day, Dido, Mona's star student, is noticeably upset about Linda. She seems nervous to Mona. The popular girls, known as the Channel, are bothering Dido in a way they haven't before. She was always able to ignore whatever rude remarks they made about her before, and Mona notices Dido is more clingy than ever to her boyfriend Justin. He was suspended for drawing a picture. He won't be taking a placement exam, but will be working for Einstein, the engineer. For the next few days, Dido doesn't show up for rehearsal. Columbus hasn't been seen anywhere, and Castor has been distant. Then the event happened. Paul called Mona to ask her about the data screen.
Do you see it? It's a picture, a moving image, a video.
What?
All were imperative for ending yesterday's divisions.
Oh my word.
But today, in our post-racial society, SIN is no longer a threat. And SIN is what we need to capitalize on in our role as entertainers.
Is he recording live?
I don't know. I haven't seen him for days.
Do you realize how strange this is? First Linda, then this. Do you think Castor had something to do with this?
Here in the private district.
Do you know how illegal this is?
Yes, Paul.
Castor, our resident magician.
Do you think Castor has something to do with this?
I don't know.
When I expire, you will become your president, your leader. your ringmaster in our community.
Where is Castor?
I haven't seen him either. Everyone has kept to themselves for the past couple of days.
I need for you to be my eyes and ears until I get there. It's perfect you work there. I'll have to find a way in too.
He will take my place. He will keep SIN alive in order to expand the trust in the private district.
You think I'm safe here?
Public and Eco, my friends, I'm signing off. Your ringmaster, Columbus.
Find Columbus. Something's not right.
I normally wouldn't have to look for Columbus. He operates like clockwork, always there, always lingering. But starting then, I kept my eyes and ears open for any clue. First, Castor told me Columbus was sick. I offered to take him some soup, but Castor wouldn't allow me. Castor didn't want me to catch a cold or contaminate Columbus's space anymore. He was looking out for his health as well as mine. So he said. Columbus was usually present. In his absence, dare I say, I feel freer, liberated. No, I thought to myself, he's still here. I just don't see him. I can't allow myself to think so foolishly. I still abide by his laws and speak the language that allows us all to organize under one theology. I'm still bound to a hierarchy that everyone else upholds. They are all here. Therefore, so is he. The law is still here. The social order is still here.
I need your help.
With what?
With Digits. He took Paul on a tour of CoShow. I stand to believe Digits might be trying to frame me.
For what?
For Linda's murder. Digits has been acting strange lately.
He has? Well, that would explain why he's never said a word to me.
He's never said a word to anyone. He's mute. That isn't strange. What's strange is that he hasn't had lunch with me since Linda disappeared. We haven't hung out at all since then. I think he suspects me.
Why should he suspect you? Did you do it?
No. Of course I didn't. Assimilation. It's what Linda did to achieve her role and stardom. It is what we cheer for when she stands center stage in all her fabulous perfection. She has conquered the beast. She has slain the devil that mocks us for not being enough. She has won by assimilating and winning at society's own game. She has slain the beast. Everyone loved Linda. She was my hero too. The only one who wouldn't love her is the law. Crazy given how obedient she was. But she was just too damn talented to stay within the lines no matter how hard she tried. But how can you relate? You're a public girl, born and bred. There was never anything wrong with you.
There's something wrong with all of us.
Not enough to orphan you. You're still a real person.
So are you.
Am I? How real can I be if I'm drawn? I'm a sketch. Anytime someone wants to edit, I'm changed.
What do you mean?
Castor shares with Mona that he feels trapped by his placement in CoShow, that he feels just as trapped as Linda did. He tells her that Digits thinks he murdered Linda because he was jealous of her stardom. But Castor explains that there was no reason for jealousy. Both of them were restricted cyborgs. He wouldn't do it. He didn't hurt her. Mona tells Castor that she feels guilty for being a part of the audience that has trapped the both of them. Castor assures her that it is not her fault. She did nothing but play the role that society instructed her to play, and the gig just so happens to be that of a free woman. She did nothing wrong. Mona reports everything Castor told her to Paul.
So Digit thinks Castor killed Linda?
That's what Castor thinks. But he didn't.
How do you know?
Well, I don't know for sure, obviously. But I think he's innocent. He told me how trapped he feels here as a cyborg performing for the public. I had no idea he and Linda felt trapped.
He's private and he's telling you something you want to hear. Most cyborgs play that game with us humans. They tell us what we want to hear. It's called publicin ego. He's telling you what makes you feel better.
Publicin what?
Publicin ego. A magician would be best at using it. Don't trust Castor. He's using you. He's telling you what you want to hear.
You're using me to spy on him.
You don't understand. Why do I put myself through working with you? I could work with an officer, and I choose to work with you to give you some experience. Where would you be right now if I didn't give you this job as a school teacher at CoShow? You need to listen to me.
I kept thinking about the difference between Castor and Paul, and between the private district and the public district. It's scary to think that someone could be lying to you just to tell you what you want to hear in order to control you. But though Paul is honest, he's too dogmatic. Just because he believes his views are 100% right and true doesn't mean his opinions are the truth for everyone. As I was thinking deeply, Digits showed up. Digits without words. It's always amusing. He seems to come around when life gets too confusing and all you can really do is laugh. No language needed for that. And isn't it really language we all stumble over anyway? Offended by terms rather than intent, with good reason. Terms are used to categorize and organize thoughts, and thoughts insidiously pave pathways. Digits the clown temporarily stops any confusion by offering a bit of comedy without words. I wonder why Castor would want me to believe that Digits thinks he's guilty of murder. What would Castor have to gain by having me believe that Digits was out to get him? What's clear is that Castor wants me on his side, and that Digits is now on the opposing team. Digits, the fun-loving clown who brings clarity through comedy. Why?
Time passes, and now we are at Dido's debut performance.
Image has been legalized, and Dido is the first star to take advantage of the popularity that this broadcast will bring. But the most amazing part of the night for me was when Castor admitted to lying.
Castor steps forward and stands center stage after Dido's historic performance. A hush falls over the crowd.
Who out there can tell me what we have witnessed? It was a thing of legend, an act of myth, a fabrication of old world science and sin. Science, imagination, narrative. S-I-N.
Castor's atlas glows blue. He holds the atlas by his side and programs the spear with his fingertips to project his image across data screens inside and data screens outside of CoShow. On one large central data screen, Castor's image is projected for all the city to see.
A few months ago, you saw Columbus announce his plan to bring science imagination narrative back to our land. It was banned hundreds of years prior to our birth. We know little about it, only what we've been taught in school. History tells us that SIN is responsible for the stereotypes that plagued our ancestors.
Backstage, backup officers follow Paul, who watches Castor from stage wings. Backup officers get ready to rush the stage. Paul holds them off. He points to the trust that builds from the audience. Paul shakes his hand. Trust wins over what is or was illegal.
I have a confession to make. I wanted to use SIN to distract you while I made my escape. Can you believe it? I wanted to escape. Ladies and gentlemen, sadly, Columbus, your beloved ringmaster, has passed away.
Officers prepare to enter the stage if trust drops too low in the audience.
I know I lied. I fought being a ringmaster because I thought this role was a trap. But after fighting, I came to see that I was already trapped by my trying to avoid my role.
The audience listens empathetically. Paul and other officers listen as well. High government officials listen in their offices as they watch Castor's speech projected on their data screens.
I am now ringmaster of CoShow.
Trust lights up in the eyes of the high officials. Castor waves the crowd. Trust glows within the audience's eyes. Police listen backstage. There is nothing they can do because the audience loves Castor. Trust rules. They pat Paul on the back.
The audience's eyes glowed with trust as Castor took his position as ringmaster. And though I was glad that he came clean and took responsibility for his obligations, I couldn't shake that he lied to me, and lied so flawlessly. I believed him. What else did I believe that wasn't true? Still, Castor's lies seemed more charming than Paul's narcissistic honesty. But again, even though Paul had no room to listen to what I had to say, I couldn't count on Paul to be transparent. But I wanted security over transparency that night. I wanted hope over defeat. And Paul had been defeated. Paul is never good to be around when he's been defeated. So I left with Castor.
This concludes part 1 of Hidden Complexity.
You know, image is everything, and the audience has the power to control whatever meaning is projected. But if that image had a heart and a mind and a life of its own, how would that image go about living in a world that used its being as a symbol? How would they live if they stood for something they did not agree to represent?
Mona tunes out as Goose speaks to her. She's distracted by her data screen.
Did you hear that?
What?
Music.
No, I don't hear anything, just the sound of my own voice.
The audience believes ideas they want to see. They pay for whatever they want, and there you have it. The birth of industry and circular logic keeping the lie on a rotating spiral. How can everyone forget the reason Picture was banned? How can they just blindly trust Castor to bring it back?
But you left with Castor, not Paul. Aren't you guilty of the same?
Paul left with the rest of his squad. He wasn't even thinking about me, even though we had dinner plans after. I mean, now that Castor was ringmaster and video had been legalized, I can understand how plans change. But Paul didn't even check in with me to see if I was okay. He didn't care. That's how he is. He doesn't pretend to care when he doesn't. But when he does care, I know it's true. But I left with Castor because at least Castor understands showmanship. At least Castor knows what to say to appear as though he cares. And the appearance alone is enough to silence a war. Image is everything. So yes, I went with Castor.
Mona checks her data screen again.
There. You hear that music? Sounds just like the music Digits used to play.
I don't hear anything but your contradictions. So, you chose Castor. What happened after that?
Well, I was in Castor's room and then
Castor tinkers with video recording technology. Mona watches while preparing school lessons.
If sin, science, imagination, narrative is back, and we now have the ability to draw pictures and record ourselves through video, does that mean that we will all live forever?
Castor records himself. Simultaneously, backstage at a rehearsal, Justin tries to record himself using one of the small cameras Castor invented. The data screen reads, "Recording blocked." Paul, who has been investigating Castor but can do nothing to stop his actions, weighs in.
Castor put a block on recorders. Not everyone can record themselves. He says it's so they can have a live audience. If every act was recorded, they wouldn't have to have a live audience to perform to. He says everyone would stay home and watch on their data screens. So only some acts can be recorded. So far, those acts are only Dido's and his.
Justin quits the camera application and switches to a video playback application. He watches a performance of Dido's on screen. By the statue of Linda, the channel watches the same performance of Dido. In the video, the audience cheers for Dido, and the girls enviously scoff at Dido's popularity. Suddenly, Asia notices Linda's statue move. She doesn't trust her senses enough to say anything. Mona calls her class to attention. She begins her lesson.
If our picture is deleted, what will happen to our real bodies?
Isn't a picture of us real? Why isn't that considered a real body?
Good question. Does anyone have an answer? No answer. Are we all mute today? No answer at all. Okay, well, let's all check our data screens and ask the question that Dido just posed.
Mona and all students log into their data screens. On Mona's data screen, an icon of digits pops up with an error message that reads, "Information blocked." Mona is perplexed. All students are too. They have never seen this error message before, and this is the first time Mona is hearing that music.
Whoever is playing that, please silence your device.
Later, Mona sees Paul on a bench in Commerce.
Paul, hey, I thought we were meeting at the food court. I found something on Castor.
She tells Paul that she thinks she has something on Castor.
Why doesn't CoShow have any clowns?
What?
Clowns. My class is full of acrobats. They reach the age of 18, take their placement exams, and enter the circus with their assigned position. Dido will graduate soon. And with her popularity, we won't need to test her. She'll take the test, but it's clear where she will end up. She's a star already. But why doesn't CoShow have any clowns? I have plenty of fools in class who would surely pass the test.
CoShow has clowns. It has a clown, that one. That doesn't talk.
Digits, right?
Yeah.
He's always so quiet, you almost forget about him.
Yeah.
What happened to him? I haven't seen him lately. But you know, that new icon thing, the error message kind of resembles him.
What error message?
I asked my data screen a question in class today, and I got this weird error message. It had a picture of a clown with an error message next to it, blocking information.
Huh? What did he ask?
What happens if our pictures are deleted? Are our pictures real bodies? Ever since Castor brought back Image, I haven't seen Digits anywhere but on our data screens. He's an icon for search engines, and he's the icon that pops up anytime we're blocked from information. Maybe you can't pin Castor for Columbus's disappearance or Linda's, because Castor is protected by trust. But what if you start a new case of finding Digits? Don't tell anyone you're investigating Digits' whereabouts. No one even notices that he's gone. So there isn't an audience following this investigation. There's no one to trust Castor with innocence.
You think that our data is being controlled by the ghost of Digits the Clown?
Goose finds Mona's entire story to be the most entertaining thing she's heard in all of her days working in entertainment.
Dear, you're not from here. You're a public girl. Human. You're stressed out. Take a chill pill.
Well, have you seen Digits since Castor brought back Image? And Castor never answered my question. If Image is brought back, does that mean we live forever? Where does the soul go if our image is deleted? Your own daughter speaks of being haunted by Linda. What if Castor or Columbus created an avatar of her and uploaded it to the machine? What if her spirit is still with us in this matrix because the machine has mistaken her image for her biological body? And what if Digit's soul is there too, trying to show us something by planting data right in front of us, causing us to react just as he designed us to?
If dating two men has got you this nervous, just pick one or dump them both.
From what Mona has witnessed from getting close to both Castor and Paul, she believes that there is some force behind modern data that is leading the public and the private to react in a way that was designed by who she thinks is a character in this myth who has yet to say a word. Could Mona be on the something? Find out as we investigate along with Paul in Fluid, the 6th episode of our radio drama, Columbus Myth.
You've just heard Hidden Complexity, the 5th episode of Columbus Myth, written and produced by Kendra Dobson, recorded by John Rockwitz, sound mixed by Kayla Chappelle, starring Ebony Stewart as Mona, Way Harper as the announcer, Steven Simmons as Paul, Ruby Etkins as Goose, Aslan Hollier as Castor, Adam Martinez and Dan Pye as Columbus, Adam Martinez as Einstein, and Julia Leonard and Krista Gonzalez as Dido.